heart of Yunnan, where clouds cling to stone cliffs, lies a mountain wrapped in whispers, a place where sound itself seems to die. Locals call it Ailao. Outsiders, more ominously, call it the Forest of Death. Those who have dared to enter its embrace speak of a fog with a will of its own, a mist that watches, listens, and sometimes chooses. When you first step into that mist, the world goes utterly quiet. The sound of your own footsteps vanishes. The air grows thick and heavy, like invisible hands pressing against your chest. Even your breathing sounds wrong, somehow distant, muffled, as if it belongs to someone else. The people who live in the shadow of Ailao Mountain say it recognizes familiar souls but turns its back on strangers. Phones lose signal instantly. Compasses spin wildly, like frightened birds trying to escape a cage. Within minutes, even the most seasoned explorers find themselves disoriented, lost in a silent, gray world. There is a story of a young craftsman who once rode across a hidden lake deep within the mountain. He was searching for rare minerals to make paint. The water was perfectly calm, reflecting the trees like dancing firelight. Then, the mist rolled in slowly, deliberately, until his entire world shrank to the size of his small boat. Suddenly, a vibration rose from the deep. It wasn't the ripple of a fish or the groan of old wood. This was heavier, slower, alive. Something enormous turned beneath him, so close he could feel the movement through his very bones. He whispered to himself, "The sound isn't right." Later, in an interview, a reporter smiled and asked, "Maybe it was just a big fish." The man didn't answer. He simply looked away, his eyes hollow, his voice gone, because what he felt that day wasn't something you could easily name. Ailao has always demanded a price for its secrets. In the 1990s, at the foot of the mountain, stood the quiet village of Xia. One afternoon, a strange silence fell over the community. A young man called for his mother to come for lunch, but there was no answer. He stepped inside and found her lying still, her eyes closed. There had been no struggle, no sound. Moments later, his wife collapsed, then his neighbor, then another. By nightfall, 4 people were dead. Within days, more followed. Doctors searched desperately for toxins. Scientists tested the soil, the water, even the air. Everything came back normal, but the deaths continued. Over a span of 10 years, 36 people fell without warning, breathing one moment, gone at the next. Eventually, the government had no choice but to evacuate the entire village. The houses were left empty, waiting for residents who would never return. And as soon as the people left, the dying stopped. There was no virus, no curse, no proof of anything at all. Only silence. And silence, here, is a language Ailao speaks fluently. Years later, a team of 4 geologists entered the mountain. All were former soldiers, highly trained in survival. They carried radios, machetes, food, fuel, and GPS locators. Their last message home was simple and confident: "See you tonight." They never came back. Rescue teams followed the red paint markers. They left on tree trunks, a standard procedure to avoid getting lost. But they soon discovered something deeply unsettling. The markings began looping back on themselves. Experienced men had been walking in circles. Their equipment was functional, but their compasses were not. On the 7th day of the search, rescuers found 3 of the bodies. They lay in a perfect triangle, side by side, as if they had been carefully arranged. There were no signs of a struggle, no wounds, no indication of panic. The 4th man was discovered a kilometer away, lying face down in the moss. No blood, no footprints, just silence. Experts officially blamed hypothermia, but the temperature on the mountain hadn't been nearly cold enough to be fatal. Besides, the men had matches, firewood, and fuel. Why didn't they build a fire? Why did one man run? And what, in that silent forest, was he running from? To understand this mountain, you must first understand its weapons. The mist is thick with moisture, acting like a giant sponge that absorbs sound. Every footstep every whisper simply disappears. Only deep, low-frequency vibrations can travel, echoing between the valleys. These vibrations confuse your senses and twist your perception of distance. The mountain's magnetic field is notoriously unstable. It bends and warps, causing compasses to drift aimlessly. North becomes a meaningless concept, and beneath it all, the mountain hems a deep, inaudible frequency that can shake the human body from within. Scientists call this phenomenon locals, with more reverence, call it the breath of the mountain. Infrasound is known to cause nausea, dizziness, and intense anxiety. It creates the unshakable feeling that something enormous is standing right behind you. In places like Ailao, fear becomes a physical force. It alters your heart rate, slows your judgment, and erodes your ability to think clearly. And that is precisely when the mountain takes you. But science can only explain part of the story. The rest is buried in centuries of chilling warnings. Old county records from the Qing dynasty describe hunters stumbling upon a valley filled with bones. Armor was found neatly stacked, and skulls were left untouched, as if an entire army had been cut down by invisible hands. Ancient texts speak of a red-haired, one-legged creature that walks alone through the fog. It doesn't kill with claws or teeth, it kills with desire. It whispers confusion into your mind until you willingly walk deeper and deeper into the mist. Perhaps it's just a myth. Or perhaps it's a distorted memory. Every culture invents monsters to explain what science cannot. But maybe Ailao's monster isn't a creature at all, but the mountain itself. In recent years, scientists have recorded a range of abnormal readings in the area: magnetic anomalies, subsonic waves, and even unexplained surges of carbon dioxide near caves. Theories rise and fall, each one more confident than the last. Volcanic gas, bacterial spores, group hysteria. Yet, the one thing they all share is uncertainty. No matter how many theories we construct, the mountain remains silent. When one researcher was asked why the GPS signals vanished for days, he responded quietly, "Maybe the mountain didn't want to be found." Rescue teams tell even stranger stories. When the fog thickens, radio waves bend. Voices echo back, distorted, sometimes repeating words the speaker never actually said. A rescuer once described hearing his own voice whisper, "Don't look behind you." He turned. There was nothing, just the fog, folding and unfolding on itself, like something breathing. Some call this superstition. Others call it survival, because in Ailao, the two are often the same thing. The mountain doesn't roar, it doesn't strike, it waits, and it listens. The most frightening thing about this place isn't the darkness, it's the quiet. When that profound silence falls in Ailao, even the animals seem to hold their breath, and that silence has a rhythm, a pulse-like, a giant heart beating deep beneath the ground. Centuries of deaths, disappearances, and whispers all circle back to a single, unsettling truth. This is not a place for humans to decide what is real. Here, reality itself seems to bend. Some call Ailao a natural wonder, others a cursed labyrinth. But everyone who returns says the same thing, that the fog feels alive, that something unseen moves just beyond your reach, testing those who dare to enter. And when they leave, if they leave, the mountain keeps a part of them, a sound, a sense, a small sliver of their sanity. We like to believe that science can eventually explain everything, that mysteries only exist until the data catches up. But what if some places are meant to remain unexplained? What if a mystery isn't the absence of knowledge, but the presence of a boundary we are not meant to cross? One local villager put it best: the mountain doesn't forbid people, it just never refunds the tuition of mistakes. So if you ever find yourself in a mistruthed forest, remember the tales of Ailao. Walk softly, keep your voice low, and when the world around you grows to quiet, stop, because in Ailao Mountain, silence isn't peace, it's a warning. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more explorations into the world's greatest mysteries. Stay curious and stay safe.